Hello, it's Tiffany Lorraine, the resilient mother. Welcome to a session on discussing resilience. Now, my story is one of abandonment and trauma and overcoming those things through self compassion at the beginning, all the way to self actualization and being able to step into my truth of who I really am and who I'm meant to be. With that, I will share a few things along the way, a little bit of a trigger warning here. Some things may land in an emotional place for those who've been through things, but I want to share them so you understand the depth of what it is to really develop resilience in a way that you can bounce back stronger than you ever have before. I'm going to share today a 5-step process for creating a resilient mindset that helped me and was developed during COVID. My story as the resilient mother started when I was abandoned pregnant during COVID, and my two kids came home for their schooling. I was attending two universities at the time to knock out credits towards my education. Somehow, through it all, I managed to maintain a 3.5 GPA and to bring my son into this world in 3 hours by myself, barely making it to the hospital and barely having people available who were willing to help me get a ride home from the hospital, help me with my children, and the things that any mother is going to need postpartum. During that time, luckily, through my university, I was taking a self compassion class. So I was able through that time to really see the miracles along the way. The miracle that my son ruled out cancer and endometrial hyperplasia. What would have been a possible hysterectomy or hormone treatment ended up being instead my miracle son. And he was also born on a very special day, sharing the same birthday as his sister, who is 10 years older than him. If that is not a miracle, I don't know what is. And it's those things that allow us to be resilient, is when we can see the miracles and the little tender mercies of God in our life every day. So I started a process, and it started with 4 F's to begin with. It was fulfillment, faith, family, freedom. And then I discovered really there's a fifth, and that is forgiveness. At the beginning of this self discovery, it was hard to take. I got to the end of my self compassion class where you're supposed to accept yourself as you are and love yourself as you are. And I couldn't do it, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, I realized as I did the work to keep positive emotions in my body, to not allow the child inside me growing to feel abandoned, but to instead to feel loved and wanted, that I didn't really know who I was. So, how could I love or accept myself if I didn't know who I was? You see, I was raised by two narcissistic parents, as loving as they could be. The generational patterns that had been passed on were not the best. So, my survival of that kind of environment was to become a chameleon and be whoever other people needed me to be, or who they needed me to be that day so they'd leave me alone to myself. In that process, I didn't develop my own voice. I didn't develop who I was. And coming to that realization really helped me start a path to go back and look at my life and in my current life and look at what's in alignment with me. What is true for me? When was I at my best? When did I feel at my best? And bring that forward into my life with practices like meditation and tapping, and of course, counseling, EMDR work, doing the work to become my best self. But first, I had to forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know, for getting into a relationship that turned toxic, for not understanding my part in ending generational toxic patterns or ending the cycle of my life that was not getting me where I wanted to be, especially in relationships with significant others. And now today, I've continued my degree. I'm an international best-selling co-author. I am a certified high performance coach, and I have raised my children on my own, going on between 3 and 6 years, depending on how you look at it. And I'm in a much better place that is more in alignment with myself. And that once I gave myself the forgiveness to let go of the things that were not serving me and not to hold on to the past. Now, I'd say with trauma, there are still some very strong patterns, and the work is never done. So I may be better, but there's always more of where I want to go. And so, after forgiveness of yourself, then there's forgiving others as well. This is not always easy, and this does not mean that you go back to abuse or you put up with abuse. This means you forgive the person so you can be free of the negative emotions and you can allow yourself to move forward in your life. It also means that you realize people are human. and that someone may have come in and out of your life for a purpose and a reason to help you grow and to help you become more than you were before. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Really, everything in life is happening for you, not to you, as you develop. Now, around forgiveness with faith, we also have our faith in God. And I have to admit that God is the only reason I'm here and the only reason that I'm able to sustain what I do now and move forward with faith that the future is full of possibility, that there are good things in store for me and there's good things in store for you and for my family. And in these chaotic, crazy times, it's really important to know that you have the ability to be creative and create possibilities and that you can find fulfillment again. It may just look different than you may have thought before. And forgiveness in some ways may have looked different than you thought it would before. And you have the opportunity every day to forgive yourself. You could, if you wanted to, take these 5 steps and make it a morning journal practice to set your mind to be resilient every day. You could ask yourself, what do I need to forgive and let go of every day? What am I going to do to feel fulfilled today? What am I going to do to connect to my source and increase my faith? What am I going to do to prioritize and nurture my family today? And then what step am I going to take towards freedom today? What will I do to take the necessary steps forward? Those are the things that I find myself asking or journaling about when I need to reassess, when I am not in alignment, or when I can tell things are not going in the direction that I wish they would go. And it's got to be more than a wish. We can be someone who wishes, we could be someone who dreams. But really, when we finally become the person who does what we say we're going to do, and we're really in alignment, that's where fulfillment is found. Fulfillment, as well, is something that is beyond us. It cannot be just about us. And just as being pregnant with my son during those times really created a catalyst for me to create change for myself, it also was motivated by love for someone else, something beyond myself, something greater, which has led to the Resilient Mother podcast and other offerings that I am doing to support other mothers, because during that time, I did not feel supported in the ways that I wanted to be supported. So now I seek to create an opportunity of a community for that online and with those that I meet and interact with. And now I recognize that fulfillment is so much about service and being a service leader and giving with love without expectation and planting seeds and just moving in the direction that your heart feels you should go. We can get caught up in our heads and doubt our abilities and doubt our unique gifts and doubt where God is taking us. And it can stop us in our tracks from where we're actually meant to go. And thank God, God is patient. Thank God, real leaders who understand are patient with waiting for the right timing for things to lay out the way that they are. And really, hindsight is 2020 once we're past those things and we're able to look back and see why everything fell into place the way that it did. So fulfillment isn't just about you. It's about something greater than you. You have to have a why that's big enough to create action in your life that motivates you to get up every morning and to move forward despite whatever obstacles or challenges you may face along the way, and to feel whole and happy and charged and alive with your life each day, full of gratitude for what it is you get to do each day, because you get to create it. And that's another piece of responsibility is, how am I going to create the life that I desire and want, not just for me, but for my family as well? So that is fulfillment. And now faith is pretty self-explanatory, but also it's faith in yourself. You have to have faith in your ability to figure things out and know what the right thing is to do. What is the right next step for you in your life that will take you where you want to go? The answers are all inside you already. Being resilient is realizing this, realizing that the answers come from inside, not outside validation, not from another person, not from expectations that were put on you by family or society or a culture. You know who you are, and you have to have faith in that and in yourself, and that you're going to figure it out along the way. Faith also has grace, grace that along the way, you're going to stumble. You're going to fall. There's always another layer of the onion. Sometimes it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. We're never done. And it's just having the faith that you will get there if you persist and keep going. Just keep going. Just keep believing, as the song goes. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling, right? And with faith, that means you have to have time every day to commune with God. If you think about it this way, if you're like the 5 people that you hang around with every day, God better be one of those 5 people you're hanging around with every day. Got me? Or whatever you believe your higher source or power is in the universe. I know that's different for everyone. For me, it's God. And I have to praise my God every day for being here and having this opportunity to teach and be with you today and to serve at this capacity. So, with that, what is your faith practice? Is it something that is a spiritual practice? Is it meditation? Is it in your journaling? Those are two that are really psychologically found to have profound perf- effects on someone in a positive way. Is it prayer? Prayer is a form of meditation. Is it reading scripture? Is it music? Is it nature? Everyone's a little different. And that's the beautiful thing about resilience and about this process is you can put in what works for you, and then you have a way to get your resilient mindset back quickly along the way. Faith does mean developing a relationship with something more than yourself. And that means that we are all connected. We are not isolated. When one person wins, we all win because we all raise the vibration of our planet and our earth and our connection to our higher source. Love has a higher frequency than anger does or sadness. And you get to choose what frequency you're at. And being spiritual also means listening to yourself, but also listening to your higher self and your source of what is the next right move for you, what you need to do in your relationships, what feels right in your heart and makes your heart burn, or that gives you chills, or those things, those moments when you needed an answer or you needed someone and they showed up, those moments when your faith creates miracles because you gave your best and then you gave the power of anything else that needed to happen over to a higher source. And maybe you didn't get the result that you were hoping for, but I'm sure you at least planted seeds. And those seeds will be nurtured and they will grow over time. So that's faith. Now, family. Family's everything. Now, today we may not be able to choose our family and the sense of who our bloodline is, but in a way you did choose them. So think about that one. Think about being grateful for the lessons you've learned, whether you have great parents or parents that are not who you want to be or you're learning from, or that relationship is strained and it's under reevaluation, or there's boundaries that have to be set. Every situation is different, but we all have a mother, we all have a father, and we all have that relationship to deal with in our life for that family dynamic. Now, there's very few people that are a traditional family anymore. We have blended families. We have families that look all sorts of different, including my own. I never expected to be a single mom, but I did expect to be a good parent. And so I put my best foot forward on what that looks like. And now, do I get it right all the time? No. Have I had to bring other people in to be my community and my support? Absolutely. I definitely have had to find my people in my tribe, and I've found that in some wonderful communities online. And now I need to create that in my own communities. And that is something that's new for me that I'm going to develop. But those that know how to create community and network and realize that we are all gifted with ability to collaborate, that we can create win-wins for an individual and for the collective, those are the kind of people I want to be around. Growth mindset, have goals, achieve those goals, reach for those goals. Those are my people. Now, your people may be a little different. I also love creative people. So your people might be people who love nature, people who love cooking, people who love traveling. Like, we all are unique and beautiful, and we all need to celebrate the fact that we're different and unique to really embrace that we're one big family. I mean, to me, you're my brother, you're my sister, and we were meant to cross paths and we're meant to serve each other and to raise each other to a higher level, to a higher standard of living, and make the next generation better than the last, which is really important to me that we support what family and love look like today so that children can have that base in their lives to really be resilient. because the most resilient thing in the universe is love. Love never fails. When you can bring love in and resiliently, and you can love yourself resiliently, that is the key to real success in life. Really seeing the positive, really being optimistic, but also love can be tough love in families. It can be that person who's honest and blunt and is a catalyst for change in patterns, maybe the chain breaker in a family. Whatever that looks like for you, you get to create your family in a sense, that you get to build community however you need that. And we all need a team. We all need good people on our side that are our cheerleader, a person we can talk to when we're upset, a person who can tell us like it is. That's why people get coaches. I've heard it recently suggested that you should have a coach for your fitness, one for your business, and one for your personal life, or a therapist. And I attest to that myself. I'm better when I have someone I can talk things through to and then get feedback of just what I'm saying to myself. And if someone is not going to accept things like a no from you or boundaries or conversations, the tough conversations, they don't really love you. So that might really put a catalyst or a boundary around who you allow in your life. And something else to consider when you're building your family or your community is, what role do these people have in your life? Because depending on what role they are in your life, maybe you don't have to let them in all the way. I used to be very open with anyone and everyone, and I'm probably still a little too open for some people. But is it appropriate? Has someone earned the privilege of that information? Has someone earned the privilege of knowing that much about me? People have to be able to show who they are, show if they're responsible enough to have that information with you and that they have your best interest in mind. Because not everyone does, unfortunately, or they're just immature in the sense of what they should be doing with the information they're sharing with you. But you get to choose. You get to choose your family. You get to create your family. And no matter what your family looks like, you get to celebrate it. There was a time I thought, "Oh, I'm a single mom. When I get married again, I'll do this. When I'm a complete family again, I'll do this. Then I'll be a family again." Because I didn't really feel like a family, because this wasn't what I thought family looked like or expected or originally wanted. But you know what? Why wait? Why can't I have a mission statement for my family? Why can't I have those relationships with my kids now? Why can't I make things as wonderful as I can? And that really means bringing the joy and the love into everything that you do, no matter what your situation is and no matter what your circumstances are. And with that is real resilience, because resilient transformation is living your truth under all circumstances. And I really think that's the most possible when God is allowed into that scenario, because with God, all things are possible. And I can attest to that, or I wouldn't be standing here today. And I have healthy, beautiful, wonderful children that I get to have as a part of my life. And I'm grateful that I get to experience what being a mother is, even though it may not be what I thought it would look like as a birth mother and a divorced mother and as a mother who was pregnant alone. I did not expect that for my life. I did not expect that to create family for me, but it did. And I love my family. I also know I have to find roles. I don't have very close relationships with sisters or with my mom or with my dad. And so I have to find people that fulfill that role for me. So I'm really careful about who my 5 people are that I hang around with every day, because I don't want anyone to drag me down or to get me into old patterns that I used to have. But also, I want people that are going to move forward, that show me there's a higher level, that there's a next level to get to, that there's somewhere more that I can go, and that anything is possible. And you do not have to be held back by your past or even your current struggles. They're just part of the process. So as you can tell, family is really important to me. So it's important to nurture and love your family and pick who your people are, because it's going to affect all those other things. It's going to affect your forgiveness. It's going to affect your fulfillment. It's going to affect your faith. And family is really that central nucleus of who we are and who we become. So with that, then we have fulfillment, faith, family, freedom. So freedom is knowing that you can move towards your goals. There's no one that you have to wait for permission for. There's nothing you have to wait for to live your dreams. There are no limits except for the limits that you put on yourself. Now, that path may need to be strategic. I'm not saying go into a bunch of debt and jump into something with blinders on. Make educated, smart choices. Avoid debt, avoid not safe situations to fulfill your dreams. But don't limit yourself on the possibilities. Have that big vision, have that big dream, and keep working towards it. Now, I certainly would like to work towards it faster. And that includes the right people that we just talked about. That includes a proven system or strategy. When you have those things available, you will be able to thrive. You will be able to soar because you set yourself up for success. Freedom can come in little steps every day by being smart about things like finances, having the right mentor there. It could be about freedom by healing and taking care of your health. Health is wealth. Our most precious asset is our time, managing our time. Money is a tool that is very useful if we know how to use it properly in our lives. If we don't know how to do those three key things, I don't really think we feel free. We feel obligated to a job. We feel obligated to a dollar amount. We are waiting to be happy someday when I'm remarried, when I buy the house, when I have the career, when I have this. And freedom is understanding that you create the happiness right now, today. You choose it today. There is nothing that should be holding you back from experiencing a sense of freedom every day. If you're not challenging yourself to create freedom in your life, you're just letting life happen to you. You're not actively engaged in your life because challenge is going to come. One way or another, life is going to challenge you to grow. So are you going to let life decide what that challenge is, or are you going to up the level and vibration that you're at by challenging yourself to be more every day? When you do that and you fulfill that, you build confidence and more of a sense of freedom within yourself to really create the life that you want, to go from feeling like, how did I get here, to look at me now. Look at what I'm doing now. And that's real resilience, being able to take any situation, any circumstance, and live your truth and understand that it's a process. Understand that there are going to be challenges and failures along the way, but don't stop being you. Don't stop developing you. Become who you are meant to become. All right, with that, not sure if anyone's jumping on this today, but I'm just going to teach. So at this point in the teaching, what I would like to do is to take people on that are in the Zoom room, and we would coach on different areas that they would like to be resilient. And we would talk about how they could apply this mindset into their daily life. And they could score themselves in the different areas where they feel they're doing on their forgiveness, their fulfillment, their faith, their family, their freedom, and score themselves on where their mindset is in those areas. And if they feel they are really working towards them or not. See, you can create frameworks out of a lot of different things, but it gives you a way to measure how you are doing and where you are at. And knowing how resilient you are, how resilient you want to become, can be a great way to create change, especially as a single parent. You really learn what the priorities are and who you really want to become and maintain, because you could drown in all the responsibilities and obligations and be overwhelmed a lot. Or you can choose, what is a priority today? Where is the direction that I want to go, to create that freedom to still be myself and create a beautiful life that I want? And so with that, we would go to questions, Q&A from here, and I would be open to answer any questions that you have, any tips, any strategies from coaches that I've learned from, books that I love to read from, or what it is I'm doing now to move forward in my own life to create even more resilience and energy and creativity that allow me to feel alive and vibrant in the things that I am doing. All right. Well, with that, I believe in you, believe in yourself. God bless, and we will see you next time. All right. Take care.